I've had the experience of being just an everyday person, to being a person that lived on the streets, to being a gang member, to being all different things.
I was at the end of my rope, like I said, and if it wasn't for HUB and the team, I don't know where we would have been right now.
This is a referral from Patrol Division from the Saskatoon Police. The category is mental health and type is person. The risk factors identified are drug abuse by person, housing not having appropriate access, suspected mental health problem, and basic needs unable to meet. HUB is different because it's a model. So it's a model designed to connect people to services within our community versus a program where they're just going to show up, attend a 12-week program, and then be done with it. The HUB is a model that will facilitate people in our community to get connected to the right supports and services.
Instead of having to tell your story over and over and over again, which is something I got annoyed of very much, they're all there. So they all see, and they see what we're going through, and they all talk, like they sit at a table and work together, so we don't have to put our story out there 15,000 times, and that takes that frustration off the table.
We have exhausted our efforts as police and are looking to agencies for assistance to connect her to appropriate supports and services. And we do fear for her safety and that of the community due to the delusional thought process that's been exhibited when dealing with patrol. So we've identified that there's multiple risks across multiple agencies, and we're bringing it to the HUB table for support. Many people in our community do not have the luxury of having access to all of those types of resources. But yet sometimes we expect them to be able to connect to supports and services. We give them a card and we tell them they need to make this appointment or attend this programming. And when they don't, we don't realize that it's because they didn't have the vehicle for transportation. They didn't have a babysitter. They didn't have the phone to let you know they couldn't make it. And sometimes they're then seen as non-compliant or cooperative, where at the end of the day, maybe it's the way we do business that needs to change to make it easier for people in our community to get connected so that they can be just as successful as you and I.
The value is the immediacy that we have with the information that we can gather that's pertinent to keeping us safe, to keeping the client safe, and to really providing the best care for the individual. So oftentimes we don't have access to the information that we need. So by being able to tap into other professional agencies, getting background checks from the police, getting all that information is crucial with the population that we work with.
It was like a solid team, and they were very successful in the help and the support that they gave me, and you know, like they were helping each other, help me, and help my son.
Re-engaging the family, I think, is a big part, because for this youth, the family would never, ever have been engaged prior to the HUB involvement. And this allowed that line of communication to be open. At first, the HUB communicated with the family, and then the family allowed for the school to communicate with them.
Okay, next is 592, and that comes from Mental Health and Addictions Adult. Although initially they may be apprehensive, within minutes of meeting us and understanding what our goal is, and that our common goal is to essentially work for their family, advocate for their family to get those supports and services so that we can reduce the risk that is currently presented to their family. And when they see that, and they see the sincerity and the hope that we have for them, they jump on board, and they want to be involved with HUB. They are active in planning what those supports and services look like, because we can't do this without their voice.
HUB is people that you need on your side. Any parent that's struggling, any family that's struggling, like they need to know that they're not alone, and they need to know that there are good people out there that really want to make a difference, and they will do everything they can to help.
Typically they're discharged, they're not leave against their will.
Right.
And yet they're back on the street behaving the same.
I think of some of the high-risk clients prior to having a strong alliance with HUB. What did we do with those files? And oftentimes, if the environmental safety factors were too high of a risk, we know we might have called patrol and we would go out to assist the client, but perhaps an individual wasn't home, or we tried once or twice, we would close the file, right? So, you know, as a system, individuals were literally falling through the cracks, right? So the value of HUB is, as Brittany mentioned before, is absolutely meeting the clients where they're at. And whether that's at a street fair, if that's at their home, if it's in a hospital emergency room, if it's wherever it is, we are literally meeting them out in the community. And I'm a firm believer that's where a lot of healing occurs.
We still have our ups and downs, but now I'm able to work through them instead of freaking out and saying that they're, you know, the life's over and the world's over. I can actually sit down, take a breath, and, you know, work it out and figure things out one at a time.
You know, I wish I met you guys long before, 7 years, 8 years ago.
When I sit and listen to them talk about the hopes and dreams they have for their children and for their family, it's the same hopes and dreams I have for mine. And I've just been lucky enough to have the services or have the resources to obtain those goals. And a lot of these people aren't. And so my passion comes from giving people the opportunity to live their best life. And sometimes people need someone to fight for them.